20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Chapter 2. The Hunt Begins. The crew of the Abraham Lincoln was as bold and fearless as their captain. They were not afraid of the creature and were glad to have the chance to hunt it down. Captain Farragut had promised a reward of $2,000 to the first man to spot the monster. The sailors didn't have to be told twice to keep their eyes open. One of the crew members, a close friend of mine, his name was Ned Land, and he was by far the most powerful man on board. Ned was in charge of the deadly harpoons on the ship. If anyone could find the monster, it was Ned. He knew a lot about the sea and the many forms of life that swam in it, but to my surprise, he was the only one who did not believe in the monster. Days went by, and we saw no sign of the creature. We had sailed all the way down to South America around its southernmost tip, and we had now reached the great Pacific Ocean. We started at the sparkling waves so hard that we nearly went blind looking for the beast. We saw nothing but calm blue water. By this time, everyone was getting tired of the search, and some were even beginning to wonder if there really was a monster. Only Conseil and I kept believing. But Ned Land kept looking at the sea as if it were expecting something to rise up from the deep. Then came the cry that sent all hands racing to their posts. It was Ned shouting, "Ahoy, there it is, off the leeward bow." It was there in the water, the creature we had come so far to see. It was a dark night. The sky and water were very black, but I had no trouble spotting the monster. Up from the depths of the ocean came a blinding light. We saw the gigantic shape of what looked like a whale, only bigger. "Sir, the creature glows!" cried Conseil, as he leaned over the railing to get a better look. "It must be some kind of electric well," I told him. "You've heard of electric eels, haven't you?" "Yes, indeed," Conseil exclaimed loudly. "I've also heard that they can give you a nasty shock. Imagine what a creature this size could do." Captain Farragut rushed forward. $500 to the man who can spear that beast," he yelled. An old gray sailor stepped to the gun. The harpoon gun fired with a mighty blast. The deadly spear hit the beast, but bounced off. "What the devil is that creature made of? Solid iron," cursed the old gunner. Before anyone had a chance to say anything, the monster suddenly headed straight for the Abraham Lincoln. Everyone held his breath. Then, just as suddenly, the creature's lights went out and it seemed to vanish. "It's playing games with us," muttered the brave Captain Farragut. Then, in the darkness, I could hear a loud hiss not far away from the ship. "That's the sound that a whale makes when it spouts water," said Ned, "only this is much louder." Then the creature appeared again, a little ahead of the ship. It seemed to be almost waiting for us. We followed it through the long night. Everyone was too excited to get any sleep. Finally, late daylight came, and the monster's light again disappeared, but we could still see its huge dark shape as it slipped through the water. "Now's our chance," yelled Ned. "Let's get that blasted thing once and for all." "Engines full ahead," ordered Farragut. "I'll go after that beast until my ship blows up." The chase was on. We soon found out that the creature was much faster than we had thought. As soon as we sped up, so did the monster. We had all we could do to keep up with it. All that day we chased the beast. We followed the glowing trail that it left in the water. Captain Farragut stood muttering at the rail. "Confound that animal," he cursed. "I've never seen anything move that fast." "Our only hope is that we can tire it out," I said, feeling pretty tired myself. But the monster kept right on going. Night came and still we followed the beast. Then the creature disappeared again. We couldn't see anything on the dark sea. Time passed, and I began to worry that the hunt was over. Just as we were about to give up, the brilliant light appeared way off in the distance. Slowly we moved toward it. The beast seemed to be standing still. Then we were right next to it. The glow was dazzling under the water. We could hear its loud breathing. Someone must have seen me go over, but the Abraham Lincoln was moving away in the darkness. "Help! Help!" I cried, choking. I was sure that I was lost now. When the ship left, so did my hope for rescue. My wet clothes were clinging to me, making it very hard to swim. I tried my best to stay afloat, but before long, I was too tired to move. I knew I was drowning. I could not breathe. I tried to cry out for help one last time, but my mouth filled with water and I began to sink. Then the dark water closed over my head. Just as I had given my life up to the sea, I felt something grab my clothes and I was pulled up to the surface. I could hardly believe my eyes. It was my dear faithful servant, Conseil. "If you'll hold on to me, Professor, I think you will find it easier to stay afloat," said Conseil quite calmly. I clung to his strong arm. As soon as I could get my breath, I turned to him. "Were you swept overboard at the same time as I asked him. "No, sir," he replied. "I jumped over. You are my master, and it was my duty to follow you." No man had ever had a better servant or a finer friend, I told him. Silently, we drifted in the icy waves. Our wet clothes felt heavy. It seemed as if they were made of lead. Conseil had a knife, and we cut some of them off. That made swimming easier. To save our strength, one of us would swim and hold up the other. Then we would switch places. By taking turns, we hoped we could hold out until morning. The ship would surely be able to spot us in daylight. It was our only hope. Hour after hour went by as we tried to keep from sinking in the churning waves. We were both doing our best, but it seemed as if morning would never come. I knew I couldn't hold on much longer. I began to get terrible cramps in my stomach. My arms and legs were stiff from the cold. I began to go under again. I was sure my end was near. Then the moon came out from behind the clouds. There in the water ahead of us was a large, dark shape. We couldn't quite see what it was. Was it the ship coming to save us at last? Or was it the monster? Screamed Conseil. "Oh, sir, the monster has found us." Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please click like and subscribe.